All right. Hey, Brian Gracely here with Mike Foley from RSA. We're going to do something a little bit different in this sort of video version of the podcast. We're going to take some of the technologies we just talked about in the audio version of the podcast and kind of visualize them, right? So
sure.
Make it simple. So we talked about 3 or 4 things, right? We talked about kind of the concerns versus the benefits, right? I think we sort of highlighted those. Folks thought, cost might be a concern, which, that's still, the jury's still out on that. Depends on how you do it, how big, what you're trying to do. Experience, like what's the right skills to have, what's the user experience that people are going to want to have. So there's ways to do this, but that could add to the cost.
Right.
So the benefit of this becomes, a little bit uncertain. And then security becomes a concern because it should be a concern all the time, right?
Yeah, and it's, is this going to bring me better security, or is this going to bring me all new security challenges?
Yeah, more complications, more stuff. So what we sort of talked about was, the benefits, if you do the security right, if you build this into the architecture the right way, is better governance. So I know where things are, I can audit better. I've got better control, right? We'll talk to this, like smaller places where you've got to worry about security, more tools around those spaces that are better integrated around virtualization, and then auditability. Like you said, if this device gets lost, I know what he touched, what files, where they were, whether data's here, whether data's back in the data center. So let's just kind of walk through this real quickly. So this is a really simplified architecture, but it's probably a pretty common thing. So we've got sort of a centralized data center where we've got servers virtualized, so we've got virtual machines. This could be running, VMware or Citrix or any of the virtualization platforms. Some sort of storage infrastructure, SAN, NAS, whatever it might be. Network. Hey, there's a cloud. And these could be in like the corporate environment where they're in the main location. These could be down here in a remote location. These could be anywhere, right? You could be out on the road. This could be
on an airplane.
This could be a 3G, airplane, 3G connection, Starbucks, anywhere.
Right.
So let's sort of highlight what are we talking about security in this space? Where's the security technology apply here?
So there's a number of things. So you could do encryption here.
Okay.
At the SAN level, you can do SAN level encryption,
data,
so that you're ensured that all of the data that's on the storage, if someone walks in and grabs a disk, that you're not having to worry too much about that.
Cool.
There's other ways to look at that from a security standpoint, but we'll just start with that one first.
Yep.
With some of the capabilities in VMware, you can now start doing things like vShield running in this environment, providing isolation between the different VMs.
Okay. vShield being part of the vCloud Director technology suite. It's sort of a firewall.
It's
it's access list. It's a firewall. It's a bunch of
floor topping
edge technology, edge security technology. Right. Okay. Cool.
So it allows you to really start to control what's going on in the VMs and being able to do things like data loss prevention and antivirus scanning. So being able to come right up underneath the VM without having to have an agent within the VM. It leverages VMware tools. And so I can now scan that VM on a regular basis for antivirus signatures. Or just like with antivirus, I can scan it for content within files that fall under different compliance rules. So for example, credit card information, social security information, Italian driver's license numbers. Yes, that is actually one of the ones. So there's about over 80 plus DLP rules that you can scan with vShield.
So this is sort of the combination of RSA DLP technology embedded in
within vShield.
vShield, cool. And this is aware of things like as this virtual machine moves for whatever reason, for high availability, for load balancing, for HA, this is going to be aware of
all of the settings, firewall, antivirus, DLP, travel with the VM.
Oh, cool. So it becomes automated. It fits into your overall policies. It's not just a stick it and hope it move.
And what's really nice is because I can now start to group VMs into, we'll say, finance and engineering, I can now start to apply policies to both finance policies and engineering policies. In finance, it might be okay to have an Excel spreadsheet with social security numbers in it.
Hello, DEF CON! So I didn't make my 10 o'clock speech, so I want to just say a couple of words here before we introduce the man you're all here to see. At least I think you're here to see General Alexander, aren't you? Yeah. So this is something in our 20th year anniversary. I mean, it couldn't have come together any better. First of all, I never thought I'd be doing this for 20 years. And second of all, I never thought I would have a director of the NSA and Cyber Command at the same time. So for me, it's something I've been trying to do for almost 15 years. More than half of the life of DEF CON I've spent trying to get someone from the NSA. And why the NSA? Well, they're the kind of the spookiest, kind of least known about. And I grew up reading The Puzzle Palace and all of my collection of spy novels. And, you know, much like with hackers, people sort of fear what they don't know. You know, and we've all been through that. You guys are hackers. You can probably, like, walk through walls, right? You can sniff Wi-Fi with, like, you know, your fillings in your teeth. And we sort of ascribe the same sort of technical capability to the NSA, but, you know, they're human just like us. And something I try to do with DEF CON is I want to expose you guys from the very first DEF CON to people you don't normally see. Like, I'm sure you guys just don't hang out and have coffee with the general. And neither do I. So to me, it's really eye-opening to understand, you know, the world from their view, because I want to expose you to a larger sort of perspective. We're going to hear all this technical, sophisticated attacks, latest trends, but you probably won't really hear it from the horse's mouth how any of that fits into a larger world view. You know, I mean, I grew up thinking about the internet as a global space. You know, it was my local community, who I knew, and it was the world. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about my nation, because that's like a geographic thing, and I'm all electronic. But, you know, the reality is today, yeah, we live in a geographic space, and we have a country, and other people have countries. And now that the internet has grown to such a space, we're starting to have country-to-country conversations about, well, what does it mean? What's internet governance about? Do we have cyber treaties? You know, how is this all going to work going forward? And so, like magic, on our 20th anniversary and the NSA's 60th anniversary, this has all come together. So with that said, I'd like to have you give a warm welcome to General Alexander.
Thanks, Jeff. Can you hear me? Thanks. Honor to be here. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. You know, one of the things I want to talk about is the freedom domain, the internet, and what we can all do to work on this. And so I've got about 6 hours of presentation and slides that we'll cut down to some meaningful time for you. And I do want to give a chance for you to ask some questions. Hopefully they'll be easy ones, and I have a crew here that can answer the hard ones if I need to. To Jeff Moss, thanks so much for the invitation out here, and thanks for all you do to bring this community, what I consider the world's best cybersecurity community, together. Let's give them a big round of applause. Absolutely superb, and this is something that I want to hit on in a few minutes. Gail Thackeray was just up here. Let's give her a big round of applause for what she's done. And Dead Addict, where are you? Let's give him a round of applause too. Okay, so to show you that we have a sense of humor, maybe. This was Ken Olthoff. Many of you know him. What happens to the feds that get spotted here? They get to clean up afterwards. And so, you know, he was the first one that was spotted out here, I think, in DEF CON 1, the first year. And he's almost off that sentence. He's got, you know, you can see he's on the last row in the parking lot. So 20 years of cleanup, and that's what happens to guys that get caught. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I have had a great time here this morning, absolutely superb. Oh, it's stuck. Shoot. Does anybody know how to operate this thing? You do? You know how, can you come up here and help me out with this? You know, it just seems to be stuck, and you know, I'm not sure how to get it to the next slide. Right? Oh, well, that was good. What's your name?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Oh, let's give Sci-fi a big hand. Come on up here. So, I don't know how many of you know Sci-fi. Sci-fi, we had a chance to go out to see the DEF CON kids this morning. I'll tell you, absolutely superb. You know, to see these young people and what you've set up there. And Sci-fi and a couple of others. Who are the other two?
There's
Yeah.
Chloe, Olivia.
And then Kryptina we saw.
Kryptina, yeah.
Yeah, so those are the three that we saw this morning. Absolutely superb. And what Sci-Fi's done is she won the 0-day exploit. In fact, she gave me a t-shirt and said I had to wear it, right? And I thought, well, what about the freedom domain? And she goes, there's nothing more important than DEF CON kids and what they've done. And I'll tell you, from my perspective, there's nothing more important than what you and your folks have done, so don't get nervous. So we have, this is Sci-Fi's t-shirt. Sci-Fi.
My name is Susan Thomas. I'm a second grade teacher at the Beverly J. Martin Elementary School. I made a decision to take a personal day and be here today because I really deeply care about the future of our young people. I want them to have clean air, I want them to have clean drinking water, and I want them to have clean soil to raise food on. And I'm here to set an example for my children about what their responsibilities are in terms of being humans on this earth.
We are Seneca Lake!
My name is Elon Shapiro and I teach through Ithaca College, and I am also a community educator. And I'm here because we're tired of having long-distance corporations trashing our home, and the same way that they trash people that they think of as disposable. We don't want to be disposable. We want to stand for a strong local economy that's clean and that provides clean jobs for everyone. So we really want to get to the root cause of what all the racial strife in this country and all of the infrastructure that's like a cancer upon us. We're here to protect our home from the trespassers.
We are Seneca Lake! We are Seneca Lake! We are Seneca Lake!
My name is Arena Zakos. I'm a special education teacher at Beverly J. Martin Elementary School in Ithaca. I'm a mother of two daughters, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I teach human rights. And I teach students to stand up for what they believe in and our right to clean drinking water and air and to speak our beliefs. And I teach students about the leaders of civil disobedience and justice movements. And I'm here to represent these children.
We are Seneca Lake!
Just so you're informed, you're not under arrest. You're past the posting time, so now you're under arrest.